I spent mine over in the Swanee River area, the Brantford, Florida area. Certainly enjoyed seeing family and friends over there. I will be here tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then I'm heading to New England for 4 days. Wife and son are already up there. So Denmark, that's going to be kind of a culture shock. I like to be a well-rounded man as I get older. So there's nothing quite like going from Brantford, Florida to Cornish, Maine in the span of 6 days. I'll get very opposite cultures, I think, going from Brantford to Cornish, Maine. But we are here with you on a Tuesday night, and we have a lot to get into. Guest-wise, here's what we got coming up. Coming up in about a half an hour, our NFC South preview this week. We will make stops in Charlotte, in Tampa, in New Orleans, but tonight we will go to the ATL to Atlanta. Is it a full-blown rebuild in Atlanta? Boy, on paper, it certainly looks like it. We'll get the very latest from John Michaels. He is the morning host of 680 The Fan up there in Atlanta. What are they saying about Marcus Mariota, about Kyle Pitts, and the Atlanta Falcons this year? Foye Oluokun was an Atlanta Falcon last year. He's now a Jacksonville Jaguar. We'll talk about him as well with John Michaels of 680 The Fan coming up at 10:35. At 11:15, boy, Miami is raking them in on the recruiting trail. Good grief. Mario Cristobal has got the U cooking right now. We will head to Coral Gables. David Lake inside the U.com. That's part of the 247sports.com network. We'll talk to David about what Mario Cristobal is doing down in South Florida, and all he's doing is basically getting 4- and 5-star commitments every couple of days, including Francis Mauigoa of the IMG Academy from this past weekend, a 5-star offensive tackle. You combine him with the likes of Jaden Rashada, the quarterback from California, and Mario Cristobal has got it going on down in Coral Gables. And later on, about 11:35 tonight, Andrew Gibson, you get him every day on the Frangie Show. We will go around the world of Major League Baseball. You know, we've been so caught up, NFL offseason, NBA playoffs, the golf news with the LIV Tour, and everything that's been going on. We are at the halfway point already, the midway point of the Major League Baseball season. So we'll kind of take a look around the diamond. That is coming up at about 11:35. But as we always do on Hacker After Dark, we start off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, 2022 is going to be a year of redemption for a lot of people in the Jacksonville Jaguar organization. 2022 needs to be a year of redemption for a lot of people in the Jacksonville Jaguar organization. And what I found interesting was a list that I saw earlier today, put out by CBS Sports, that listed the top 10 NFL players that will bounce back in 2022, meaning they will put last year aside and they will have a terrific 2022 campaign. 20% of this list is made up of Jacksonville Jaguars. Very high on the list is Trevor Lawrence. And look, we've talked a lot about Trevor Lawrence. We've talked about 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. We've talked about 8 weeks with only one passing touchdown. We've talked about his 59% completion percentage. How much of that was on Trevor? How much of that was on the talent around him? How much of that was on the nightmare coaching scenario that he had to deal with on a daily basis last year? You could probably empty all of that into a bowl, stir it up, and you had probably equal ingredients as to why Trevor struggled the way he did last year. And, of course, he saved his best for last. Clearly the best game Trevor Lawrence played in 2021, that season, was January 9th when they defeated the Indianapolis Colts. But CBS lists Trevor Lawrence as one of the top 10 bounce-back candidates for the 2022 season. Here's what they say. The former number 1 overall pick is still bound for growing pains, but everything around him is better in 2022. The line has improved with Brandon Scherff now in the interior. The skill groups are at least deeper. And best of all, his head coach is now an ally. It'll be hard for Lawrence not to take a step forward under Doug Peterson after a listless rookie year. Absolutely. I don't disagree with any of that. I think Trevor Lawrence is due for a bounce-back year. The question is, how much more will he improve? We saw the steps that Joe Burrow made from year 1 to year 2. You see the steps that Tua, look at Tua even. Tua towards the end of last year in Miami was pretty good. Look at his numbers. He was pretty good towards the end of last year. Quarterbacks do a lot of growing up between year number 1 and year number 2. And if Trevor takes the jump that many expect, i.e. like a Burrow or a Tua or even a Herbert made from year 1 to year 2, will he throw 23 touchdowns, 12 picks? Will it be that big of a turnaround? Will he go from -5 touchdown to interception ratio to a +10? That would be gigantic. Are you kidding? That would be absolutely enormous. I think the potential is there, a lot more talent around him, and like CBS lists in this article, a much, much more stable and a much better coaching situation around him with Doug Peterson. But Trevor Lawrence is not the only one that CBS says is due for a bounce-back year. They also list Travis Etienne. After losing his entire rookie season injury, the Clemson product is angling to be a Deebo Samuel-type hybrid in Jacksonville. And with James Robinson recovering from his own injury, the opportunity should be there. That's doubly the case under new head coach Doug Peterson, who likes to deploy multiple backs as quarterback safety valves. I am so excited to see what Travis Etienne can do in this offense. And I know I've brought this up a lot, but the versatility the Jaguars are going to have at their disposal on offense. They may not be the quote-unquote sexiest names yet, but you could be on the field Sundays this fall with Evan Ingram, who you could potentially line up at tight end as a wide receiver or in the backfield, Travis Etienne, who could be lined up as a running back or a wide receiver, Laviska Shenault, who could be in the backfield or as a wide receiver, Christian Kirk, who you could line up in the slot or out wide. You could probably do the same thing with Zay Jones. Once James Robinson comes back, you've seen him line up out wide at times. Dan Arnold is going to factor in as that second tight end or an H-back type blocker. I haven't even mentioned Marvin Jones, who led the Jaguars in receptions last year. They got a lot of weapons at their disposal, and I completely agree that Travis Etienne, I don't know if I'd call it a bounce back because he never played last year. It's hard to bounce back when you got injured in the second preseason game. To me, a bounce back means you struggle one year and you succeed the next. But I get their point. Finally getting Etienne out there could do wonders for this Jaguar offense. You know, it's interesting, too, that the conversation on CBS on the message boards, who is going to be the MVP of the Jacksonville Jaguars this year? And obviously Trevor Lawrence is the answer. I think any quarterback worth his salt is going to be the answer for almost every team in the National Football League. But if you put Trevor aside for the moment, what guys really need to emerge? What guys need to bounce back that maybe aren't on this list? I'll give you one, Josh Allen. Josh Allen had an average year last year. He had 2 really good games, right? That Buffalo game, he was unbelievable. He was unblockable against Buffalo. We need to see that more than once or twice a year. You need to see that more consistently. Josh Allen actually was mentioned in an ESPN article over the weekend where ESPN asked a lot of executives around the league to list their top edge rushers. They listed a top 10. They listed an honorable mention. Josh Allen was not on either of those lists, but he was in the others receiving votes. that means at least one or two executives from around the league listed Josh Allen as the best pass rusher in the National Football League. If you have any executive in the NFL saying, yep, that guy's the best pass rusher in the league, you need to live up to those expectations. So we talk about redemption. We talk about bounce back. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. I would put Josh Allen on that list. Evan Ingram, even though he wasn't in Jacksonville, he's looking to bounce back. Evan Ingram got destroyed by the New York fan base, was a scapegoat for the New York media. He drops the ball. He can't stay healthy. All the talk about Evan Ingram. The guy, by the way, has caught at least 46 passes in every year he's been in the National Football League. I think Evan Ingram needs to have a bounce-back year, and if he does, certainly benefits the Jaguars. That's why I love what Trent Baalke did in that situation. A one-year deal. Hey, Evan Ingram, you got 1 year down here to not only show Jacksonville, but to show the other teams in the NFL that you are still among the top 15 to 20 tight ends in football. And if you do that, you're going to be due for a big payday. I mean, keep in mind, Evan Ingram's 26, 27 years old? He's on a 1 year deal. He probably knows that he has one more opportunity to cash in, one more opportunity to make a big splash with a contract. And that opportunity is going to come if he produces for his 1 year here in Jacksonville. So I love the fact that he basically got a 1 year prove-it deal. Jawan Taylor. Look, you talk about bounce back. You talk about redemption. There's a lot of people that believe Jawan Taylor won't even start for this team. There's a lot of people that believe Walker Little is a better option at right tackle. Who needs to bounce back more than Jawan Taylor, who, by the way, is just like Evan Ingram in a contract year? You'd be amazed how motivating contract years can be for NFL players. Jawan Taylor has started since he walked in the door here in Jacksonville. 3 years as the starting right tackle. Yet fans, some media, want him replaced, want Walker Little out there. I am going to be very interested when training camp begins later this month. How good does that sound? When training camp begins later this month, we're 19 days away from the start of training camp, to see if there's a fire lit under Jawan Taylor, not only to keep his starting spot at right tackle, but to make some money. Again, a contract year for Jawan Taylor. He is certainly a guy that needs to bounce back. I'll give you another one, Rayshawn Jenkins. I did not think Rayshawn Jenkins was very good last year, and he signed a big money free agent contract. Now he got hurt towards the end of the year, missed some games. Hopefully he's bounced back from that. But to me, Rayshawn Jenkins made more news with the taunting penalties he got when the Jaguars were losing by 30 than he did actually making plays in competitive games. So I would love to see more of Rayshawn Jenkins. He's another guy you'd like to see some redemption. You'd like to see some bounce back. So there are plenty of guys not named Trevor Lawrence and not named Travis Etienne that need to make 2022 their bounce back year. But CBSSports.com, when they picked 10 guys from around the entire league, did pinpoint Trevor and Travis as two of their candidates to have the biggest bounce back in the 2022 NFL season. 641-1010 is the phone number, Jacksonville. If you want to get involved on the phone line or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, you are more than welcome to do so. Coming up next, more on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will get in to one of my favorite topics, the best Jaguar team of all time. We are entering year 28, right? 27, 28 for the Jaguars. 96, 99, 2005, 2007, 2017. What was the best year in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Unfortunately, there are not that many options, but the options we do have, there's certainly a conversation piece there. We'll tell you, one of the main websites said is the Jaguars' best season in franchise history. Will you agree? We'll do that next with Dylan Denmark. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. It is a Tuesday night, a late night edition of Hacker After Dark, and we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's like playing 18 holes on a beautiful day. It sure feels good. 1010XL, Jacksonville's golf station.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you ever regretted buying a car? Is the idea of shopping at a dealership scary? We want you to know that you don't have to feel that way, and I promise that Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet will provide the wow experience and peace of mind you deserve. We believe that taking care of our team, our customers, and our community is more important than anything. So give us the chance to earn your business and join our 50,000 plus and counting wowed customers. You won't regret it. See you at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Upgrade your grilling game to amazing meals with a new high-quality grill from Caladad Grills. Why Caladad? It means quality. Expert grills that stand apart from the crowd, like Traeger, Kamado Joe, and Napoleon. In stock today and built to last. Why Caladad? It's a local family business, so they'll save you money and time with free delivery. Stop by Caladad Grills at the end of Cumberland Park Drive, just off County Road 210. Caladad, they make it easy for you to grill like a pro.
Listen up, plumbers and plumbers helpers. This is Coach Ellen Darley of Darley's Plumbing. Now, there's plenty of jobs where you just show up for work, but when you join the Darley's team, you're part of the family. And we're more than just a great place to work. You'll have excellent pay rates, benefits, health insurance, and ask about our Weenie Wednesdays. At Darley's, we're busy, and you will be too. So if you're an experienced plumber, call us today and join my team at Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods. The Thompson family kicking out quality, fresh, and delicious sandwiches every single day. Fresh, as in never frozen. So don't be fooled by signs or labels. Folks, when it comes to grab-and-go sandwiches, if it doesn't say Dandy on the front, it was made somewhere else, stored in a freezer for who knows how long, then shipped into town beside the chicken pot pie. Not exactly fresh. Why not make your next stop at Gate to taste real fresh quality and make yours a Dandy today?
Star Wars fans, may the Force be with the Sharks Saturday, July 9th as the Sharks take on the Carolina Cobras for Star Wars Night, presented by Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. The first 1,000 kids in attendance will receive free lightsabers. Don't miss this action-packed football game. Tickets start at just $12. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Or visit jacksharks.com.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and this summer, go further with Tire Outlet. Visit them online at any of their 13 locations in Northeast Florida to shop their top flagship brands like Kumo and Yokohama. Let them find the right fit for you. Visit TireOutlet.com to find your store today.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Tired of living with joint pain? Now there's a better natural solution called QC Kinetics. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics, regenerative treatments for your pain. 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522.
When it comes to commercial fence services, Superior Fence and Rail has you covered. If your business needs automatic gates or security fence and railings, trust Superior with your next commercial project. Superior's team delivers great communication, high-quality products, and exceptional customer service. Just read any of their 2,300-plus reviews.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach.
Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is ready to help. If you need extra cash or a quick loan, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash in hand. They also love to buy items of value. They need gold, silver coins, and flatware, jewelry, guitars, and of course, guns.
Hey, Gator fans, Hayes Carline here. Listen for my summer podcast about how Billy Napier is building back the Gators. We'll talk to players, staff, and Coach Napier about how the Gators get back to glory. This podcast is presented by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
That's right. Glad you're with us on a Tuesday night. 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Motley Crue among the bands that were here Saturday night. Heard some really good things despite the torrential downpours that were going on at the stadium. I think a lightning delay or two. But after that, all got out of here. Apparently the concert was absolutely spectacular. Had some buddies at it, and they were loving it. I was hanging out, drinking beer, smoking stogies, Denmark on the Swanee River. So unfortunately, I missed the festivities at the stadium, but I heard it was an awesome, awesome time. You have a good 4th of July, or did you just hang out and, be a hermit crab all weekend?
Oh, no, I was a typical 20-year-old. I went to the beach bars this weekend, and yesterday I just hung out by the pool.
The beach bars on the 4th of July, I remember them well. There is absolutely no question about that. By the way, we are streaming for your viewing pleasure. Go to YouTube on the YouTube channel, the 1010XL YouTube channel. You'll see Hacker After Dark. We'll be there until midnight tonight. You can also follow us and watch along on my own personal Twitter, at Ryan Green 1010XL. That's at Ryan Green 1010XL. John Michaels, 680 The Fan, in Atlanta as our NFC South preview kicks off in less than 15 minutes. Talking about a very much rebuilding Atlanta Falcon football team. All right, about every time this year, either ESPN, Sports Illustrated, The Sporting News, NFL.com, or CBS, somebody will put out this conversation. And I like it because, quite frankly, there's not a lot to discuss here in Jacksonville, but the options we do have we're very passionate about. And that is the best team that every NFL franchise has ever had. All right? Like the Atlanta Falcons. We're about to talk to John Michaels in Atlanta. CBS says the best team they ever had was the 98 Falcons, the Dirty Birds. Hard to argue with that. They went to the Super Bowl. They beat Minnesota in the NFC Championship game. Dan Reeves up there doing the Dirty Bird with Jamal Anderson. And they go to the Super Bowl. They lose to John Elway. But it was a very, very good Atlanta Falcon team. Here in Jacksonville, we've been around 2.5+ decades. And we don't have a lot really to show for it as far as winning seasons. The winning seasons we do have were nothing short of incredible. Now, I eliminate 1997 because you lost on Wild Card Weekend to Denver. 1998, you beat the Patriots in round 1, but you beat Scott Zolak and the Patriots. And then you go on and lose to New York in the divisional round. 2005, you lost Wild Card Weekend to the Patriots. That's when Willie McGinnis had like 5 sacks in that game. In 2007, that to me is the best year that you didn't make the championship game. That was the Garrard run in Pittsburgh, and you played New England very, very close in the divisional round, but you came up a little bit short. There's only 3 options to me of the best year in Jaguar franchise history. That's 1996, 1999, or 2017. So let's take each one of those one by one. Let's begin with the most recent, 2017. That was awesome. And it was awesome because it was unexpected. The Jaguars were awful for the years leading up to 2017. Awful. And if you'll remember, on like the second play of the year in Houston, the Jaguars lost Allen Robinson for the season with a torn ACL. So you're thinking, oh my gosh. But in that same game, you figured out pretty quick that Calais Campbell, Dante Fowler, Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye, Barry Church, Telvin Smith, Miles Jack, you found out pretty quickly you had something on defense. And Jacksonville would go on to win 10 games that year. But really the magic of that season was made in the postseason. You have your first postseason home playoff game in basically 2 decades. That 10-3 barn burner over Buffalo. What made that game so awesome is all the Bills fans that were here. The Bills Mafia. Thinking they were going to come in and win that game. Jacksonville won it. Then Jacksonville goes to Pittsburgh the very next week in the freezing cold at Heinz Field. Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. They put 42 on you. But Blake Bortles in the offense scored 45. And you eliminated the Pittsburgh Steelers. You go to New England, you're leading in the fourth quarter, and then it happened. Miles Jack wasn't down. The Jaguars never recovered. The Jaguars lose in heartbreaking fashion. Is that the best season in Jaguar franchise history, 2017? You then have to rewind the clock back for another option, 18 years to 1999. A year where Jacksonville beat the crap out of everybody. Mark Brunell and Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor, Tony Baselli. The defense led by Tony Brackens and Donovan Darius and Aaron Beasley and Kevin Hardy, just annihilating everybody that wasn't named the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee came in here in week 3, beat Jacksonville in the pouring rain. Jacksonville went to Nashville in week 16, and Tennessee beat Jacksonville to death. I think it was 41-14. You then see Tennessee for a third time in the AFC Championship game, January 23rd, 2000. I remember being in that stadium. No way Tennessee can win 3 in a row. No way. Jacksonville's got the lead at the half, 14-10. They would not score again. Tennessee wins 33-14. Jeff Fisher goes out to accept the AFC Championship trophy and says this is the Titans' home field. Yuck. The other option is 1996. Much like 2017, nothing, and I do mean nothing, was expected out of a second-year franchise. They went 4-12 the expansion year. They started 1996 4-7. But then something happened in Baltimore. The Ravens are trying to run out the clock. Giving the Jaguars a loss, it would have dropped Jacksonville to 4-8. But Vinny Testaverde inexcusably fumbled the ball. I believe Jeff Lageman recovered it. The Jaguars would go on to score a touchdown to win that game to improve to 5-7. And they would go on to win 6 games in a row from that point to make it to the AFC Championship game. That included the Morton Anderson miss. That included 30-27 in Buffalo. That included Woody Page calling the Jaguars Jagwads, as Jacksonville was a 2-touchdown underdog in Denver. And Jacksonville, despite all of that, advanced to the AFC title game. So those are your 3 options. Best team in franchise history. We'll probably make this a poll question tomorrow, and we'll get more into it on Hacker After Dark tomorrow on a Wednesday night edition. But to me, the answer is always the same. And it's probably not going to change until the Jaguars win the Super Bowl, or at least advance to the Super Bowl. And at that point, it will change. But until that day comes, my answer has been consistent and will remain consistent. 1999 cannot be the best year because you lost 3 times to the same team. I'm sorry. Your best season in franchise history cannot include 3 losses to your bitter division rival. So I automatically eliminate 1999, even though 62-7 against Miami was a lifelong memory. I eliminate that one. So now you're down to 1996 and a 2017. To me, 2017 would win out, except for how painful it was. Was there a Jaguar fan that did not believe the Jaguars were not going to go to New England and win? And then Jacksonville goes up 14-0. And then Jacksonville's up 10 in the fourth quarter. And Jacksonville to lose that game, what was it, 24-20? You want to talk about a Gordon Soley shot to the solar plexus? And maybe it has stronger meaning for me because I was there. And I had to walk down the 700 ramps at Gillette Stadium because they don't believe in escalators. And I had to see what Jaguar fans were having to put up with as Tom Brady was celebrating on that stage with Jim Nantz having his tongue in his ear, celebrating the Lamar Hunt trophy. That was awful. So again, your best season in franchise history can't end in absolute heartbreak. Which brings me to 1996. Yeah, they lost the AFC Championship game that year. Could they have won it? Sure. The interception in the end zone was bad. The James Stewart fumble that was returned for a touchdown was awful. But to me, you were playing with house money. That season had already been made. You were 4-7, man. You had no business being in the postseason. You won 5 games in a row to get there, including one of the best kickers in the history of football, Morton Anderson, missing a 31-yard kick to get you in. You then go to Buffalo, where Thurman Thomas talked to the Buffalo media, saying he could not name one player on the Jacksonville Jaguars. You go into Jacksonville, you shut them up. Oh, by the way, that was the game Tony Boselli dominated Bruce Smith. Dominated Bruce Smith. And then you go to Denver. You wake up that morning. It was a Saturday. And you wake up that morning. You read the Denver Post and a guy named Woody Page. And we still talk about him. 26 years later, a guy named Woody Page said, what are these guys doing here? Who are we playing today? The Jaguars. Denver goes up early, 12-0. But then Natron Means and Mark Brunell and Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith. Oh, I bet I've watched that game 100 times. Best win in Jaguars history was Mile High Stadium, January 4th, 1997. So to me, and I'll be curious your thoughts on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Like I said, we'll put a poll question up tomorrow for our Wednesday night show on Hacker After Dark. But to me, it's 1996. Clearly the best season in Jaguar franchise history. The most fun season in Jaguar franchise history. If you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan that was alive, that remembers, you know exactly where you were when Morton Anderson missed that kick. You know exactly where you were when you were beating Buffalo and trouncing Bruce Smith and the Bills. You know exactly where you were when you beat John Elway. It was a magical run, man. An absolutely magical run. For what it's worth, CBSSports.com today on their list says 1999. 99 was great. The Jaguars were dishing out beatings in 99. They retired Dan Marino in 1999. But again, to me, you cannot have the best season in franchise history that includes 3 losses to the same team. I eliminate it for that reason. One of the big wins in 1996 we mentioned was beating Atlanta to get in the playoffs. Morton Anderson missed that kick. Well, fast forward 26 years later. What about the 2022 Atlanta Falcons? Our NFC South preview will kick off tonight. We will go to Charlotte. We will go to Tampa. We will go to New Orleans by week's end. But tonight, it's all about Atlanta. Marcus Mariota. Is he the starter? What about Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati, the rookie? Could he factor in at all? Kyle Pitts, year number 2. I got to tell you, I've talked to many Falcon fans. They think this is going to be a disaster this year. What does John Michaels think? He's the morning host of 680 The Fan in Atlanta. He's a good buddy of mine. He's always kind enough to join us on 1010XL. He will be up next to preview the Atlanta Falcons. Here as our NFC South preview kicks off, it's Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Franchi Show.
We got a nanny. So she is a nanny.
Lauren Brooks.
No. She's not a nanny.
Keeping the boys in line.
Of course she's a nanny.
Afternoons on The Franchi Show.
When does the lying stop?
On 1010XL.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh. Now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Here for Roof It Right. You know the drill. Hey, that's our show. Don't let anyone touch your roof until you got a quote from my friends at Roof It Right. Storm season right around the corner. Get prepared now with an inspection from Jacksonville's Master Elite Roofer, and sleep easy knowing your home is protected by the area's best materials and best warranties. There's a lot of roofers here in town. Roof It Right is the company I trust. Schedule your estimates today at roofitRightFL.com. That's roofitRightFL.com, and see why your friends and neighbors say Roof It Right so you can sleep at night.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent with help from Family Support Services of North Florida. You provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Let me tell you, I hear from people all the time who are having tax problems. Don't be afraid to go to the mailbox. If avoided, your tax issue will only get worse. If you owe the IRS but you can't pay, call my friends at Accelerated Tax Solutions. Whatever your issue, you want someone who's not afraid of the IRS. Call today to speak or meet with a professional with a clear tax solution for you. Accelerate your tax solution with Accelerated Tax Solutions.
Hey, Rural Pest Services here. Have mercy, the heat and afternoon thunderstorms are here. With that, we get the skeeters. And for the transplants, mosquitoes. At Royal, we offer a monthly, bi-weekly, or one-time mosquito suppression service. The treatment process offers up to a 95% knockdown on all mosquito activity. So let Royal help you enjoy that backyard oasis this summer. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
In 1921, U.S. Marine Corps surgeon Dr. Robert McKeever established the first urologic practice in Florida, the McKeever Clinic. I'm Dr. West. 100 years later, we continue to carry on his life's work in providing complete urologic care in Jacksonville. We have 13 board-certified urologists with many areas of expertise to provide the highest level of care for both men and women. Visit McKeeverClinic.com to learn more about how we can help. McKeever Clinic, innovators in urologic care since 1921.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime. Yeah! And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial is the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock bottom rates and apply now at one-to-onefcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. Now that summer's in full swing, so's the front door of our house. Kids constantly coming in and out, bringing in sand from the beach, soil from the yard, all kinds of food. Pretty tough on the carpet, the rugs, the tile, the grout. Good thing July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. To celebrate, Zero Res offering 25% on all carpet cleaning in your home. What a great time to get your carpets cleaned by the very best. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res, the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Are you ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. The First Coast YMCA is not only your home for health and wellness, it's also a place for the kids to explore, to learn new things, and to expand the limits of their imaginations. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, and outdoor games. Space is limited, and registration is now open. Visit fcymca.org and search for summer camps. See you at the Y.
The 9 after 5 keeps rolling at Southampton. Joe C. inviting you to jump on the tee every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Just call 287-PLAY and sign up. We'll give you a little time after work to get there. Always a fun 9-hole game. Chef Gary preparing something nice for afterwards. Prizes and more than anything else. Playing golf with buds and having some suds after. It's the 9 after 5 every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee with Joe C.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 5th, 1987, A's first baseman Mark McGwire becomes the first rookie to hit 30 home runs before the MLB All-Star Game as Oakland beats Boston 6-2.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Tuesday evening, and we are glad you are with us. The NFC South on the docket this week. We will go to Tampa. We will go to Charlotte. We will go to New Orleans. But we begin it tonight in Atlanta. The Falcons. Is it a full-blown rebuild, or could they surprise some people in 2022? My friend John Michaels, he is the morning host at 680 The Fan in Atlanta, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. John, how we doing?
Doing great. Normally they say you save the best for last. Is this a case of using the worst for first? Is why Atlanta's on the clock first.
Well, let me ask you. You've had a couple of months to, I guess Falcon fans have had a couple of months to recuperate from Matt Ryan being traded out. Marcus Mariota appears to be the guy coming in, although you did draft a quarterback reasonably high. What is the overall expectation from the Falcons fan base coming into 2022?
Zero. I've never felt less of a buzz as we hit July 5th and training camp opens, I think, 17 days from now. Maybe it's 22 days. Again, it lets you know how little buzz there is. The fact that I'm not even 100% sure when training camp gets underway. I think it's the 29th. Falcon fans kind of know what this season's going to be. It's a rebuild. You just traded away the best player that's ever played for your franchise in Matt Ryan. The year previous to that, you traded away arguably the second best player that's ever played for your franchise in Julio Jones. And you start to look up and down the roster and you go, who the hell are these guys? It's literally like the opening scene in Major League where you had the grounds crew go, who are these guys? You have no idea. Yeah. There's guys on this roster, I literally don't know where they came from.
Was it time, John? Why did they decide to go this route for the rebuild?
Money-wise, yes, it was time. Thomas Dimitroff, and I always say this, I got along great with Thomas. My time as a sideline reporter, I developed a pretty good relationship with our previous general manager in TD. But when you fired Dimitroff and you fired Quinn and you decided we're going to bring in an outsider and Terry Fontenot to be the GM, which Terry's a great dude and seems like he's on the right path. You bring in a new system and a no-nonsense kind of coach, obviously in Arthur Smith. You had to figure things out. Well, the problem was the Falcons, from the time they lost that 28-3 lead to New England, were constantly chasing their tail with trying to get back to that point. It was, let's try to, pay guys a little bit more. Arthur Blank, our owner, had a great, maybe horrible saying that was, we're going to make this guy a Falcon for life. And the cap was completely screwed. The Falcons have right now $68 million in dead money. That means you're paying money for guys that weren't on the team. But guess what? At the end of this year, you owe nobody anything. So that's where you had to come back and really redo it.
Wow. John Michaels, 680 The Fan in Atlanta, here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. All right, well, they are going to play the season. Mariota, is he the guy? I know Desmond Ridder, the quarterback from Cincinnati, was drafted there. Is there any sort of competition? I guess Mariota's familiarity with Arthur Smith is maybe somewhat intriguing, is it not?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason they went and got him. You needed a guy that could walk in, and if nothing else, know the verbiage, have an idea how to run the offense. It's a fairly young offense, save the offensive line. You've got new backs in the backfield. I know Cordero Patterson's been there a while, but, new receivers, young tight end and Kyle Pitts, guys that are in the second year of the system, some of them the first year. So Mariota he'll have the leg up when training camp starts. And it's funny, we actually did an over-under poll maybe about a week ago, over-under how many games Desmond Ridder starts throughout the year, and I placed the number at 5.5. I think Mariota comes out of camp and comes out of preseason as your starter. History has shown, though, I believe he only played 1 year where he's made it 15 games. The next highest may have been 14. He had a 12-game season in there, and that's it. Everything else, he's basically been a backup. If you draft a guy in the third round, you also need to see in a rebuild year, can the guy play? So I think Desmond Ridder at some point throughout the year will have opportunities to start, whether it's via injury or whether it's via, hey, it's just time to see if a guy can play. But Mariota will be the guy coming out of preseason, barring injury, to probably take the snap week 1 against New Orleans.
I'm trying to put my head in the mind of Arthur Smith. And here's a guy, a hot coordinator, had a lot of opportunities, takes the Atlanta job, inherits Matt Ryan. Things go reasonably well in year 1. They were certainly competitive last year. And then it's stripped down to the bare bones. I mean, will they give him time that they've basically taken away all the assets he had as the head coach last year? What's Arthur Smith thinking about this rebuild going on?
Hacker, it's funny because he walked in last year, not only Matt Ryan, he had Julio Jones. Remember, Julio was traded after he got here. I'd have to think, and obviously not privy to the conversations when he was getting hired, that they kind of laid out, look, this is going to be a strip down and a rebuild. I'd like to think he gets at least 4 years to try to see it through, this only being year number 2. You don't know if come into next year, just say the Falcons are as bad as many people think, and you get to pick in the top 5, and you take C.J. Stroud or you take Bryce Young or Tyler Van Dyke or somebody along those lines, and you get a franchise quarterback. Well, then going into year 3, you're starting a rookie quarterback. So, and you guys know down there in Jacksonville, as highly touted as Trevor Lawrence was and is, that first year is no guarantee that you're going to have a great year. So I'd like to see him get 4 years. He's definitely different than everything Dan Quinn was. Quinn was very personable, wanted to talk about everything sometimes other than football. Arthur Smith, when I say no nonsense, we've had a couple of meet and greets with him. He wants to talk ball and nothing else. And I think that was a welcome change for the Falcons organization. Now it has to equate to wins and losses. And unfortunately, we may not see that until maybe year 4 to find out if this guy can really coach or not.
John Michaels, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. John is a Kyle Pitts fantasy football owner last year. It was excruciatingly painful to see them not use him at the start of the year. I mean, the first 2 months, it's like he wasn't even drafted in the top 5, and then all of a sudden he goes to London and goes nuts, and then Kyle Pitts kind of became what we thought he was going to towards the end of last year. He is still a dynamic playmaker, certainly going to be beneficial for Mariota. What is the expectation for Pitts in year 2?
The yardage, I think, honestly, may go down just a hair because you don't have Matt Ryan hitting as many deep balls as you did a season ago. But I'd like to see the touchdown numbers go up. I mean, he had 1 touchdown. How is that possible at 6'6" and run like the wind? And you obviously saw him play at the University of Florida, what he's capable of against SEC defenses. This guy's a stud. Got to find a way to get him the ball in the red zone. There were moments last year in games where I think Kyle Pitts forgot the NFL is different than college football. There were plays where Matt Ryan would throw to a spot anticipating Pitts would be there, and Pitts had slowed down or broken off his route because he wasn't the primary guy. Now, it didn't happen a lot, but it was very egregious when you saw it happen. I could see him be 80 catches, 900 yards, and I'm hoping 7 or 8 touchdowns, which, again, the yardage may hurt you if you're in one of those PPR leagues and you're one that gets bonuses for yardage, but I'd like to see the touchdowns go up this year. And I think Kyle Pitts, he is the number 1 on this team, and I think he'll continue to be so as long as he's on this roster.
There are a fair amount of Atlanta fans in the Jacksonville area. Most of them call the Braves their most favorite team, and the Braves are obviously playing very well. But there are Falcon fans down here. You're a pro's pro, John. Give them hope. If they're listening right now, why should they be hopeful in 2022?
Because C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young may be there very soon. I mean, if I can be the most positive guy humanly possible, they've upgraded slightly at defensive line, which was abysmal a year ago. They had 18 sacks as a team, which is it's unthinkable how bad they were. Lorenzo Carter should be better. Eba Katie, we call him AK, kid they drafted out of Penn State, should help on the pass rush. Grady Jarrett's locked and loaded. You get a couple of young linebackers who are faster. You have a much better second corner in Casey Hayward than you did a year ago. And you draft Drake London, who's 6'5". You think about last year. No Calvin Ridley most of the year. Russell Gage was hurt a bunch. Julio Jones wasn't there. You were starting guys that, quite frankly, weren't NFL ready. So with that, you think there's possibility that they can have some hope and be in some games. Unfortunately, you look at that first 7 or 8 weeks of the schedule, they're going to be lucky to get 2 wins out of there. I don't, as much as, and you've known me a long time, as much as I love the Falcons and have been around them, it's a hard sell this year if you really think they're going to even come close to making the 7 wins that they had a season ago.
When you look at the division, again, I'm an outside point of view looking in, but it looks like Tampa Bay's world and everybody's living in it. Carolina, you could argue they're in a rebuild. You guys are in a rebuild. New Orleans hasn't really recovered from losing Drew Brees. I mean, where are we in the NFC South? Is Tampa going to run away with it?
I mean, the second Tom Brady came back, they became the favorites, not only potentially in the division, potentially to make it back to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's their division. But I wouldn't write off the Saints, and I almost want to puke when I say this because I can't stand the Saints. But you think about Michael Thomas is back. They draft Chris Olave. Odell Beckham's down there. They bring back Mark Ingram to back up Alvin Kamara. And granted, Kamara may be suspended some of the games. Winston, who knows what you're going to get out of Jameis Winston. And defensively, they'll be good. Now, I don't think they'll pass Tampa, but they're a team that I think can contend for the wild card. The other two, and I've given you the rundown on the Falcons, not good. Carolina might be in more disarray than the Falcons are. Have no idea who their quarterback's going to be. Most people want to run Matt Rule out of town, and he's only going into year number 3. Christian McCaffrey, while he's a great talent, hasn't been healthy since he signed the contract. What else do they really have? So I think it's going to be Tampa 1, New Orleans 2, potential wild card berth team, and then the Falcons and Panthers fighting to see who's going to get the better of the 3 quarterbacks at the top of the draft.
Last NFL-related question for you. I know I had you on before the draft, but it's been about 2.5 months. For Jaguar fans that missed that, give us about 60 seconds on Foye Oluokun, the Jaguars' new starting middle linebacker.
Dude, you've got one of the smartest guys in the NFL. He's a guy who was a low-round draft choice. I think he was a 6th-rounder for the Falcons. When we first talked to him, we thought, this guy's going to be a special teamer at best. He is going to be instinctual and get a bunch of tackles for you. Now, is he going to go out and get you 10 sacks? That's not who he is, but he can cover. He's a pretty sure tackler. Like I said, he's one of the best guys that you will have in your locker room. I remember the time we sat, he said he never really even wanted to play football. He was there for academics at Yale, and, football just came along with it with his size, and he's obviously developed himself into a good player. Jacksonville got them a good one. I wish he was here in Atlanta, but, the cash, as we talked about at the beginning, just wasn't available for the ATL.
John Michaels, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. John, final question. You are a diehard Miami Hurricane fan. I've known you for years. You've had some down times with Miami, but goodness gracious, what Mario Cristobal is doing already on the recruiting trail, getting 5 stars from IMG, getting 5-star quarterbacks from California. You've got to be on cloud 9 right now.
Couldn't have been better. I've waited 20 years for this. I memean, you think about where we were under the Larry Coker era, where we were, for years being the top of the college football food chain. My late 20s, 30s, and 40s have just been despair, save maybe a miracle season in 17 and, kind of a smoke and mirror year with Al Golden in 2013. This is awesome. This is real, and this is sustainable. Mario Cristobal, if nothing else, will recruit in a top 7 or 8 level in the country. And you've already seen that, some of the stuff you just alluded to. I've heard there's a 5-star receiver in Jaylen Brown that could commit soon. There's a 5-star defensive end, Jaden Wayne, who's announcing on the 9th. He's probably going to go to Miami as well. If Mario does this and does exactly what he did at Oregon, and he allows Josh Gaddis and Kevin Steele to coach his coordinators, Miami will win 10 games this year. We'll be playing in Charlotte against Clemson in the ACC championship game. And within 3 years, Miami's in the playoffs. That's it. This is not me being fan. This is realizing Miami finally opened the purse strings and hired the right type of coach. No more cheap-ass hires like they've had in years past. Miami's doing Miami things for the first time in a long time. Florida fans, Florida State fans, you better be afraid. Very afraid of Mario Cristobal.
Oh, they are. There's certainly a healthy respect for him already. Hey, John, leave us with this. In the ACC, Miami, next year, the schedule changes. I thought it was interesting. They're doing 3 constants, 5 rotators. Miami loses all their coastal opponents. They keep Florida State, which is great, but you lose the Virginia Tech game annually. You lose North Carolina and Georgia Tech. As a Miami guy, any problem with the way that landed in the schedule?
The only one that bothered me was Virginia Tech. Why is Louisville on our schedule? There's no history between Miami and Louisville. I know they had Teddy Bridgewater one year, and they beat the hell out of us in one of those grab-ass, mid-December bowl games. You didn't need Louisville. You needed Virginia Tech. But and Hacker, I know you cover college football as much as I do. If you read the tea leaves, the ACC may not be around in its current construction a whole heck of a lot longer. I like the 3-5-5. I just wish Louisville and Virginia Tech would have been swapped out. Pitt would have probably been better than Boston College, although Miami and BC have had some history from the Big East and the Doug Flutie days as well. I just wanted Virginia Tech. They played them every year from 1992 until obviously coming up this season when we'll play them, and then it goes by the wayside. Maybe Miami ends up in the SEC or in the Big Ten before too long, and it doesn't matter. We'll just get to play Virginia Tech out of conference.
You get him every morning, 680 The Fan in Atlanta, my friend John Michaels. Hey, John, thank you for the time, brother. Let's do it again soon.
Anytime.
I always appreciate John Michaels joining us. And listen to what he said about the Falcons. $68 million in dead money is what they're paying this year. Good grief. Now, of course, that comes off their books, so maybe they'll be more of a contender in 2023, but it could be a very, very long year in Atlanta. Of course, in the draft, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Tyler Van Dyke, Anthony Richardson. Could be you got Revis at Kentucky. You could have a lot of quarterbacks. They're going to go very high in the draft. So this time next year, there'll probably be a little bit more excitement in the ATL for the Falcons than you have right now. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We're with you till midnight. It is our late night edition on Hacker After Dark. Of course, we're 8 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to midnight on Tuesdays. Coming up next, into the world of college football, big recruiting couple of days in Miami, in Gainesville, and in Tallahassee. All three in-state schools got some big commitments in the last 48 hours. We'll tell you about it next on Hacker After Dark.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
Honestly, this is one of the best jobs I've had.
Drivers and mechanics, listen up. Waste Management is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for job opportunities at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
There's so much more to Waste Management than what you think it is.
Waste Management offers steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous food and tool allowance.
Plus industry-leading benefits, like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and your home every day.
The benefits were great. They're the best I've seen in a long time.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics apply online today at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people-first, military-friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
Hey, this is Ken with Fifth Element Adjusting. Let my team and I ensure your insurance claim is settled properly. We even helped Jeff Prosser get his roof replaced in 2016.
Thank goodness I had Ken Lawler and his team help me navigate the claim process. They did everything for me, filed it, scheduled it, completed it, and established a settlement. I got my damaged property replaced and got back to my life.
So call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAClaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
If you're ready to sell your gold, silver, or diamonds, then go to a name you can trust. Monahan Jewelers has been Jacksonville's top gold buyer for 45 years. Relax in our elegant atmosphere as Monahan's expert staff pays you top dollar for your gold, silver, diamonds, and coins. If If you need cash for bills, something fun, or want to trade your old jewelry for a great new piece, people have confidence in Jacksonville's top gold buyer, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. So to sell your gold, check us out at MonahanJewelry.com or call us at 246-GOLD.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tomorrow is Splash Day at noon on a VyStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday. Don't miss Budweiser Thirsty Thursday and Fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Introducing the meatiest, boldest bowls ever created by you. New build-your-own bowls at Sonny's. Loaded with your choice of slow-smoked barbecue and favorites like mac and cheese, tots, or new barbecue dirty rice. All layered and sauced to perfection. For limited time, build a bowl or try a new Pitmaster Select Bowl starting at $10.99. Get yours at a Sonny's near you or at ordersonny's.com. Sonny's Barbecue. Local Pitmasters since '68.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people right now is nothing short of amazing. Hey, it's Leon Searcy here. If you got joint pain, any pain, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics is in Mandarin and now in Ponte Vedra as well. They're growing because demand for these treatments is off the charts. Modern advances in regenerative medicine allows these medical professionals to take remarkable healing properties from your own body, concentrate them with maximum power, and put them directly into your aching joints so your damaged tissues can be repaired and restored naturally. So many people in Jacksonville are living their best life again, pain-free, thanks to QC Kinetics. If you have pain in your knees, hip, back, shoulders, don't let them keep you on steroids, and don't believe surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now. It's a totally free consultation in 2 convenient locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Call 904-274-5522, 904-274-5522.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of clean out at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
He's the quarterback whisperer.
You can do this?
Teddy Thompson joins the drill Friday mornings in the 8 o'clock hour to talk QBs.
This man right here does whatever it takes.
Brought to you by Honest Abe Roofing, the reliable roofer on 1010XL. The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL-FM, Jacksonville Beach. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
You know, it was a good weekend for the Hurricanes, the Gators, and the Seminoles on the recruiting trail. Really good weekend for Miami. Yesterday, Francis Maigoa, 5-star offensive tackle from IMG Academy, commits to the Hurricanes. That was a long relationship with Mario Cristobal from his days out at Oregon. That relationship grew as Cristobal came over to Miami. Obviously, IMG is in Bradenton. There was a lot of thought that Maigoa was going to go to USC. I think Tennessee was in the mix, but ultimately commits to Miami, and that's a big, big get for Mario Cristobal. He is racking them up. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of Miami, we're going to go to Coral Gables in about 10 minutes. David Lake, InsideTheU.com. That's part of the 247sports.com umbrella, the website that covers the Miami Hurricanes for 24/7 Sports, and we'll get the very latest on Mario Cristobal and the job he's doing on the recruiting trail, which to this point has been a very, very good one. Give it up for Mike Norvell and Florida State. You know, we talk about Roderick Kearney from Orange Park, the 4-star offensive lineman last week. Well, earlier today, they get a 4-star defensive lineman from the state of Alabama and Keldrick Falk. He chose Florida State over Auburn, over Clemson and over Florida. I don't think Florida was really ever in play there. They did get a visit, and they did have one of their hats on the table, so they were a finalist. But by all indications, that was Florida State over Auburn. Clemson thought they were in play, but I'm not sure if that was true either. But nevertheless, Florida State goes into the state of Alabama and gets one away from Auburn with 4-star defensive end Keldrick Falk, which is a good get. Again, Roderick Kearney last week, Falk this week, a couple of 4-stars, one on the offensive line, one on the defensive line, as Florida State has had a solid 7 to 8 days now on the recruiting trail. And Florida got a 4-star from the state of Georgia yesterday, and defensive lineman TJ Searcy. He's a top 150 prospect nationally, a 4-star on 247sports.com. Searcy chose the Gators over several offers, including Tennessee and South Carolina, just to name a few. So again, Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal, who have both yet to coach a game. That's what's interesting. As much as we've talked about Billy Napier on 1010XL, as much as we've talked about Mario Cristobal on 1010XL, neither guy has actually coached a game yet for their new school. Of course, that'll happen in less than 2 months. And Mike Norvell, not to be left out, 2 4-stars in the last 7 days, as Florida State is getting a little something going on the trail as well. We'll go to Coral Gables, like I said, in just a little bit. David Lake, InsideTheU.com, is standing by. Also in the world of college football, look, what do you do when your conference gets raided? The Big 12 got raided last year when Oklahoma and Texas announced they were coming to the SEC in 2025 at the latest. The Pac-12 got raided last week when it was announced that Southern Cal and UCLA will both be heading to the Big 10 in 2024. Well, now it's a scrambling game. And it's a scrambling game between the Big 12 and the Pac-12 to basically see which one is going to eat the other one. Reports out from Dennis Dodd, CBSSports.com, that the Big 12 is looking to add several teams from the Pac-12 to basically stay alive in the game of college football. Now, apparently what the situation is here, and Denmark, correct me if I'm wrong, the Big 12 is looking at teams like Colorado, like Utah, I think Arizona was mentioned.
Washington.
Washington, right, as teams they want to add to their conference. What I'm questioning is, remember the whole UCF, Houston, BYU thing? The Big 12 has more teams coming in. If they want to add teams from the Pac-12 as well, are we talking about a 16 or even an 18-team Big 12? Is that what their idea is? I don't know. And when it comes to the Pac-12, are they going to be able to stay alive? To me, I think on paper right now, the Big 12 is a better conference. Because you take Southern Cal out, you take UCLA out, what does the Pac-12 have to offer? Well, they got Oregon, who's probably the flag bearer at this point. And then you got Washington, and you got Arizona, Colorado, and Utah. I mean, in the Big 12, you still got Oklahoma State. You still got Texas Tech. You still got Baylor, Iowa State, teams of that sort. If you were to add, or when they do add UCF and Houston and Cincinnati, I think the Big 12 on paper is better than the Pac-12. My goodness, it'll be fascinating to see what ends up happening. The next domino probably needs to be Notre Dame. What will Notre Dame do? And when we find out what Notre Dame does, then it might be a trickle effect from then on. We'll talk college ball. Let's go to Coral Gables, InsideTheU.com. David Lake is the main publisher there. Let's talk about Mario Cristobal and the recruiting class he's putting together at the University of Miami. It is a Tuesday night on Hacker After Dark. Jacksonville, we're glad you're staying up late with us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Watch this. The ignition code.
1010XL. Jacksonville Sports
Sports Radio.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
Hello, Jacksonville. We are well off to being the murder capital of Florida per capita population again. We've had 51 homicides, 9 more than we had last year at this time. We've had 1,466 assaults. This includes shootings, stabbings, and so on. We had 1,378 last year at this time. These statistics are outrageous, and it does not even say that you are safe to go to a food truck in broad open daylight. My bishop stated that he was in a grocery store and wondered if he was safe. We're going to continue to have these problems until the community wake up, stand up, and speak up. JSO cannot solve the crime if they were not there when it happened. Hit me on Facebook to tell me what you think.
For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadsJacksonville.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
If you've been involved in a slip and fall accident and are not sure of your legal options, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. Now that summer's in full swing, so's the front door of our house. Kids constantly coming in and out, bringing in sand from the beach, soil from the yard, all kinds of food. Pretty tough on the carpet, the rugs, the tile, the grout. Good thing July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. To celebrate, Zero Res offering 25% on all carpet cleaning in your home. What a great time to get your carpets cleaned by the very best. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res, the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. Draft your team with no in-season management, get the optimal score from your team each week of the season, and have a shot at over $10 million in total prize money in Underdog's Best Ball Mania 3 contest. Head to UnderdogFantasy.com or the App Store now, sign up with the promo code 1010XL, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to $100. Again, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code 1010XL and draft your Best Ball Mania 3 team today.
Hey, Rural Pest Services here. Have mercy. The heat and afternoon thunderstorms are here. With that, we get the skeeters. For the transplants, mosquitoes. At Royal, we offer a monthly, bi-weekly, or one-time mosquito suppression service. The treatment process offers up to a 95% knockdown on all mosquito activity. So let Royal help you enjoy that backyard oasis this summer. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
In 1921, U.S. Marine Corps surgeon Dr. Robert McKeever established the first urologic practice in Florida, the McKeever Clinic. I'm Dr. West. 100 years later, we continue to carry on his life's work in providing complete urologic care in Jacksonville. We have 13 board-certified urologists with many areas of expertise to provide the highest level of care for both men and women. Visit McKeeverClinic.com to learn more about how we can help. McKeever Clinic, innovators in urologic care since 1921.
Hey, Jacksonville, we need your help. It may be summer, but school is just around the corner. Hundreds of local homeless, at-risk, and low-income students need school supplies. One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, is collecting school supplies through July 30th, so our most vulnerable kids can start the school year right. Be a good person and help us fill 350 backpacks this summer. Bring donations to your nearest One-to-One Financial branch. Learn more and find the closest branch at one-to-one-fcu.org. And don't forget, the school supply tax holiday is the last week of July. Thanks, Jacksonville.
The 9 after 5 keeps rolling at Southampton. Joe C. inviting you to jump on the tee every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Just call 287-PLAY and sign up. We'll give you a little time after work to get there. Always a fun 9-hole game. Chef Gary preparing something nice for afterwards. Prizes and more than anything else. Playing golf with buds and having some suds after. It's the 9 after 5 every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee with Joe C.
Life a little expensive right now? If you need cash, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach is ready to buy. Gold, silver coins, and flatware, guitars and guns. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn wants to buy them. See Chuck and get extra cash only at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn.
College football starts with Griffin Service SEC Football Media Days. Coming soon. Players, coaches, college football insiders. Brought to you by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell and Kohler Homes. Windows, doors, and more. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, recruiting hot and heavy all over the country and certainly here in the state of Florida. Billy Napier has landed a couple. And certainly Mario Cristobal in South Florida has gotten a couple of big-time commitments for the U in the last couple of days. Let's go down to the Coral Gables area. David Lake, InsideTheU.com, part of the 247sports.com family. Always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. David, how you doing?
Doing well, Ryan. Good to be on with you.
Hey, David, always appreciate the time. And before we talk about the individual commitments, and there have been some big ones down there at Miami, just an overall sense from you, a guy that covers this team. Mario's been on the job there, about 6.5 months. Certainly looks like he's picking up a lot of steam with what he's doing.
Yeah, it's good vibes, and, a lot of it recently is due to the recruiting success here, picking up some commitments. We'll get into that later, but I think just overall, too, bringing in Mario made a statement. Miami as a program had to make a statement that we are fully invested in football. And so, you had to pay Mario Cristobal handsomely to bring him down or back to Coral Gables. You had to give him the funding to go get a legitimate staff, which he hired. And around the corner, I'm not sure exactly on the timetable, but, some facility announcements should be made. So that's going to be exciting as well. And then the recruiting, we'll get into it here soon, I assume. But college football now is it's a 365 deal. And they play games, 12, 13, 14 of those days. And the other 350 days revolve around recruiting. And that is definitely a big strength of Mario Cristobal's.
Butch Davis was a great coach down there. Larry Coker won a title, some would argue, with Butch's guys. But really since then, the days of Randy Shannon and Al Golden. Now, when Mark Richt got there, David, people thought the U was back, and they certainly did some nice things. Not so much under Manny Diaz. Why is this time going to be different? Why will the U be back now to maybe what they once were under Mario Cristobal?
I think there's two reasons why. I think Mario is seasoned. I think, there's decision makers at Miami that, they could have hired Mario 10 years ago, right? But looking back in hindsight, they recognize that now was the perfect time to hire him because he was able to go away to Alabama and learn from Nick Saban, how he structures his program. Then, of course, went to Oregon, and he got to run a Power 5 program for the first time in his career. And that's a big jump, right? He was a head coach at FIU previously, but that G5 to P5 jump is massive. And, he did a successful job at Oregon, and now he's ready to take on a bigger challenge at Miami. So I think, besides Mark Richt, the latest runs of coaches were – maybe not ready for a job of this magnitude. Mario Cristobal is ready, and he understands what it takes to get it done at Miami, being a player and an assistant coach in the past. And then the other reason to have optimism that this will be legitimate, is what I touched on previously, is the resources. Miami has been trying to win on a budget, and this is the big spending era of college football, and Miami's finally willing to spend big. So I think history shows us, now it's been a while, right? It's been 20 years. But when Miami is essentially dealing with a level playing field in terms of their resources are close to what everyone else is willing to spend, Miami can win big. So I think those are the main reasons for optimism.
David Lake here with us, InsideTheU.com, part of the 247sports.com family. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. All right, David, we've alluded to the recruiting. Let's begin with the most recent, and that was over the weekend with Francis Mauigoa, a huge 5-star offensive tackle from IMG. Miami, very much like Florida, had problems at IMG in the past, even though they were so close in geography. Florida has busted through that a little bit with a couple of commitments, and now Miami goes into IMG and gets a big one there with 5-star Francis Mauigoa.
Yeah, and honestly, this relationship with Mario Cristobal and the Mauigoa family dates back to his time at Oregon. Mauigoa his family is originally from America Samoa, so the western part of the country, of course, and so Mario Cristobal had a long-standing relationship with him and his family. Him playing at IMG Academy and Mario now coaching at Miami, I think certainly helps. And, he's an offensive lineman, and he made it clear that it's intriguing to go play for a head coach that was a former offensive line coach, and he likes Alex Mirabal, who is the offensive line coach at Miami now. So that, with all the other factors that Miami's offering in terms of NIL and, the resources that they're now pouring into the program, I think it signals a legitimate change in Miami's recruiting ceiling compared to the last decade. Miami's been battling for top 15 classes, and now with this coaching staff, they're shooting for top 5. Will they be able to pull it off? We'll see. But landing a guy like Francis Mauigoa that Alabama wants, USC wants, Tennessee wants, Florida wants, I think it does make a statement.
Of course, it started for Miami well before then, including the quarterback Jaden Rashada from the state of California. That certainly was a big battle in-state between Miami and the Gators, among others. Miami ends up getting Rashada. All sorts of stories that came out after that with NILs and who knows what to believe with all the collective rumors out there. But the bottom line, David, is not only is Mauigoa the big tackle going, but they got a good quarterback in Rashada going to Coral Gables as well.
Yeah, and I do think, landing that big-time quarterback, it helps the trajectory of your class, right? So recruits nowadays are very smart, and they know that you want to follow one of the, top 6, 7 quarterbacks in the country. And Jaden Rashada, according to that level of a quarterback, and he took his official visit to Miami at the same time as Francis Mauigoa. And, I don't know if that's necessarily why they landed Francis Mauigoa, but it certainly doesn't hurt having a big-time quarterback committed to your class when recruiting every other position in the class. And yeah, in terms of the NIL stuff, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. It isn't a factor in recruiting nowadays. I do think those numbers were pretty inflated that came out, both for Miami and Florida, quite frankly, is my understanding. But yeah, Miami's going to do what it takes to land big-time recruits now.
A couple of more for David Lake, InsideTheU.com, here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. David, what about the 2022 season? We're talking about the future quarterback at Miami in Jaden Rashada. Well, they got a pretty good current quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke, a guy that's in the top 15 or top 20 of all these way too early mock draft projections. Sure. He certainly looked good last year, David. What's your expectation for Van Dyke coming into 2022?
Yeah, I do think he's got all the tools to be that type of draft pick. But quite frankly, I still think he's got to come out and prove it. He kind of did it last year as an under the radar type of guy. And, he definitely showed those tools, like I said. But I think it's a whole different thing when you come into a season as the man or looked at to be the man. You have expectations, and then you deliver when you are looked at that way. So I do think Tyler can handle expectations. I do think he has a pro mentality and pro physical tools in terms of having the big arm. I expect him to have a good year. I think he did well assimilating to this Josh Gaddis offense during the month of spring football. I do think wide receiver is a little bit of a question mark going into this season, but I do think Tyler can help elevate those guys to be a little bit better maybe than we expect.
David, as we wrap up, I got to be honest with you. Here in Northeast Florida, the Miami fans I talk to, man, they have really high expectations, and it's twofold. Everybody's super fired up about Mario Cristobal, and the schedule, at least early, is not very daunting. Obviously, they go to A&M on September 17th. The other 3 games they start with, they should win easily, and then you get into the conference schedule. I mean, what is your thought as a guy that covers this team every day? Are we talking a 10-2 expectation, a Coastal Division championship expectation? Where are you with this Miami team this year?
I'm somewhere between 8-4, 9-3. I do think 10-2 is possible, but I just wouldn't necessarily expect that. I still think this roster has holes. I do think it's fair to point out that on paper, the schedule does appear to be easy, but I think if we're keeping it real, the Coastal schedule is fairly easy every year. So, I think it's fair to expect Miami to be right in the hunt for the Coastal. Will they win it? We'll see. I would probably bet for them to win it. But again, it's kind of like Groundhog Day where, how many years do we expect Miami to win the Coastal and they don't get it done? So I'm kind of at the point now where you got to show me. But I do think those expectations, somewhere 8 to 10 wins, I think those are fair expectations for this year.
David Lake, InsideTheU.com. David, final question. The ACC, early last week, came out with their new scheduling format that's going to take over in 2023. You look at Miami, they keep the traditional game with Florida State, which is awesome. They lose everything else. They lose Virginia Tech. They lose North Carolina. Every team they've played in the Coastal is now going to be on a rotating basis. What was the reaction in Miami to that?
I think most fans were disappointed about Virginia Tech, because their rivals going back to the Big East days, right? But I will say this. I do think most Miami fans recognize that it's for the good of the conference. It's to be more attractive to TV and try and generate a little more when you have more of a rotating schedule. That means more Miami-Clemson matchups, which ultimately is good for the conference. So, there's never going to be perfect change because no one likes change. But I think overall the fan base was okay with the new modeling system.
Miami fans here in the Jacksonville area, be sure and go check out InsideTheU.com. That's where you get David Lake. That is part of the 247sports.com network. David, thank you for the time, my friend. Really appreciate it. Let's do it again closer to the regular season, and we'll see where things stand with Mario Cristobal and the Canes on the recruiting trail.
Definitely, Ryan. Anytime.
Thank you to David Lake, InsideTheU.com. And, yeah, look, give Mario Cristobal credit. You got to tip your cap to the guy. He's getting it done right now on the recruiting trail. We'll see if Billy Napier can counter. There's a lot of guys making decisions. You're pretty much seeing decisions every day at this point because most of these recruits want to get their commitment done with for 2 reasons. One, they want it done by the time their senior year starts so they can enjoy their senior year. And 2, scholarships are going to start going here pretty quick, so you need to kind of get involved. That's why you're not going to see as many people as in the past wait until signing day to ultimately make their decision. NBA Summer League has started. Chet Holmgren, 23 points tonight for Oklahoma City. Chet, calm down a little bit, buddy. He's on Twitter talking to all his critics, if you will. It was a Summer League game. It was one Summer League game. Just slow your roll a little bit. By the way, Paolo Banchero and Jabari Smith will play against each other. Magic and the Rockets Summer League action. That's coming up on Thursday night. Coming up next, my friend Andrew Gibson. You get him every day on the Frangie Show. Here on 1010XL, we are at the midway point of the Major League Baseball season. What about the Atlanta Braves? What about the Tampa Bay Rays, who got a big win tonight up at Fenway against Boston? Can anybody catch the Yankees in the American League East? We'll do a little Major League Baseball talk with my friend Andrew Gibson. Gibby is next. Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Bring in the heat. Your summer station. 1010XL. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The learning experience in Nocatee is raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the Jacksonville Sharks will donate $5 for every ticket sold. Learn more at jacksharks.com.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You can play in the golf tournament benefiting the Derek Hatcher Foundation, combating the disease of addiction, August 13th at Eagle Landing Golf Club. Register at derekhatcherfoundation.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Are you ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. The First Coast YMCA is not only your home for health and wellness, it's also a place for the kids to explore, to learn new things, and to expand the limits of their imaginations. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, and outdoor games. Space is limited, and registration is now open. Visit fcymca.org and search for summer camps. See you at the Y.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Obviously, the summer temperatures are already here, and if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside the house. That's why I'm such a fan of Pella Windows and Doors. By now, we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Pella Windows and Doors, we invite you to visit their showroom on Phillips Highway next to Tesla, or find them online at PellaJacks.com.
Introducing the meatiest, boldest bowls ever created by you. New build-your-own bowls at Sonny's. Loaded with your choice of slow-smoked barbecue and favorites like mac and cheese, tots, or new barbecue dirty rice. All layered and sauced to perfection. For limited time, build a bowl or try a new Pitmaster Select Bowl starting at $10.99. Get yours at a Sonny's near you or at ordersonnys.com. Sonny's Barbecue. Local Pitmasters since '68.
Business owner, entrepreneur, CEO. Get expert help working on your business. Florida State University's Jim Moran Institute in the College of Business is now accepting applications for the Jacksonville Small Business Executive Program. It's designed to help you think differently, to become more efficient in running your business, all at no cost. Classes meet once a month starting mid-August. Find out if you're eligible and apply before July 5th at jmi.fsu.edu. jmi.fsu.edu.
One of the best things that happened here over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Leon Searcy here. QC Kinetics is giving relief every day to folks here with chronic joint pain using the latest advancements in regenerative medicine. They harness the power of your own body healing properties, like in your blood or plasma, concentrate them and apply them to your affected joints. The results can be mind-blowing. These regenerative treatments are designed to repair and restore your damaged tissues so that you can move again without pain. Play golf, tennis, run, walk upstairs without hurting. The success rate is incredible. QC Kinetics is growing now with clinics in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Folks here are getting real relief with no drugs, no steroids, no surgery. Discover the exciting all-natural, advanced natural options that we now have access to. Thanks to QC Kinetics. It's a free consultation. See what your options are. Now in Mandarin and Point of Vedra. Call 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522.
It's a sale so big, there's only one name that fits. It's the Big One Sales Event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Ready for some new Toyota inventory? How about 400 new Toyotas available? See, I told you it was big. Plus, you get 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it, and a lifetime warranty with your new Toyota purchase. Unlimited time and miles. Look for the big red tent. It's the Big One Sales Event at Arlington Toyota. Shop in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Who was the very first superhero? The answer coming up.
Hurricane season begins in June, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Superman was the first superhero and made his initial appearance in Action Comics in 1938.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Get closer to nature.
Nice buck.
On the Nimnik Chevrolet Outdoor Show.
Nice buck, nice buck.
Captain Kevin and Captain Kirk join Jeff Lageman, fish tales and hunting stories. Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The 4th of July has come and gone, and you look at the Major League Baseball standings, we're getting very close to the halfway point, if you can believe that, of the Major League Baseball season. With that, let's get a guy on from 1010XL that loves Major League Baseball, my friend Andrew Gibson. You hear him every day on the Frangie Show. You're going to be hearing him with me under the Friday Night Lights very soon when high school football gets underway, and he's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Gibby, how we doing?
Doing great, man. I'm looking forward to everything you just mentioned there. Baseball's heating up, getting close to the All-Star break. High school football is around the corner, man. Doing well.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy, busy time of year for all of us. Of course, Tony Baselli takes his rightful spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in about a month's time as well. All right, Gibby, you look at the Major League Baseball standings. We had you on around Memorial Day. Certainly a lot has transpired since then. One thing that hasn't changed is the New York Yankees are just scorching the earth. They are 13 games clear of anybody else in the American League East, which is pretty impressive because Boston, Toronto, and Tampa are all above 500, Andrew, but none of them can seemingly catch New York right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. One of the best stats that I saw this week on the Yankees is that the Yankees going into Monday had out-homered their opponents 133-70, by far the largest differential in the majors. I mean, they're just like almost like a beer league softball team, man. They just get up there and mash, and they're doing it at the best rate of anybody in baseball. I think one of the things that Frank Frangie and I mentioned last week was it's not just that the Yankees are killing the ball, they're also pitching, and you have to have that too. Luis Severino is a guy that they've hoped and wished that would get healthy finally and be the starting pitcher that they thought he was going to be. He's finally done that. They've got an ace in Garrett Cole. Nestor Cortez has cooled off a little bit, but the left-hander has been pretty good this year for them, and their bullpen is absolutely nails. It's absolutely lights out. Aroldis Chapman's not the same guy he once was, but he's not the closer anymore. That mantle has been taken over by a guy named Clay Holmes, who's just been unreal. So top to bottom, the Yankees are, I think you could make the strong argument they're the best team in baseball.
Gibby, was this expected? Were the Yankees thought to be pretty good coming into the year, or are they even surpassing expectations?
I think what they have done is they have certainly surpassed some expectations. Look, when you're the Yankees, you're always expected to be good. You're always expected to compete for championships. But the problem is they've underachieved that in the last couple of years. The Yankees haven't won a World Series going back many years now. I think 2008, 2009 was the last Yankees World Series championship. That's far too long in a pressure cooker like New York. But I think you knew the Yankees were going to score. You knew the Yankees, with all that offensive talent, were going to be a team that was a juggernaut offensively. But what I think people underestimated was this bullpen and this starting rotation, that you knew there was promise with it, but now it's finally coming through and it's flourishing, and it's giving the Yankees the complete roster that you knew they would have.
You get Andrew Gibson every day on the Frangie Show. He's with us here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Gibby, I'm looking at the AL East. Before we get to the Rays, correct me if I'm wrong, the Red Sox, 10 games above 500. Maybe so much has been talked about with the Yankees, but very quietly, Boston has accumulated some wins here. Now, granted, they're 13 games back of New York, but the Red Sox look like they might make a little bit of noise in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think they can, and I think it all depends on what they do after the All-Star break, that trade deadline that comes up later in a few months or so. It's going to be interesting how they combat what the Yankees are doing because, as you know, it's the arch rival, the Yankees. You got to try to compete as much as you can with the Yankees. The Rays are always going to be a tough out, and the Blue Jays, too. The Blue Jays are a team that's never going to go away. But I think, look, the Red Sox have been a team that at times they've underachieved for sure, but you know they have talent. J.D. Martinez, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, all these guys that they have. Chris Sale at some point is going to come back and pitch for the Red Sox, and so they're never going to go away. The Red Sox are going to be there. I think they're going to spend. It's going to be interesting this offseason what they do with the contracts they have coming up. You have to extend Rafael Devers? Are you going to move on from Xander Bogaerts? What do they do in those contract situations? But for the time being, the Red Sox are never going to go away.
You know, you brought up a good point before we started here and talking about Tampa and the Rays. Now, look, they've struggled a little bit as of late. It wasn't that long ago they were double digits above 500. Now you look and they're all of a sudden 43 and 37. So they have come back to the pack a little bit. But basically at this point, you just don't ever want to make a trade with the Tampa Bay Rays because the minor leaguers the Rays get for veterans they send elsewhere, almost every time, Gibby, the Rays end up winning that deal.
Man, the Rays are like that team in your fantasy league that you never want to trade with, right? He's the guy in your fantasy league that I've got one eyebrow raised when I hit submit on this trade because I'm not sure how I'm going to lose this trade, but it usually happens. But the Rays are incredible. If you look at their starting roster, most of the guys in their lineup were acquired via trade, and the most recent example was Austin Meadows. They shipped him off in spring training to the Tigers, and everybody wondered, why would they do that? Austin Meadows is a very good player. At times he's had health issues, but when he's right, he's really good. And they got this guy back, Isaac Paredes, and he's been phenomenal. He's had, over the last month, about 75 at-bats for the Rays, and he's hit 10 home runs. I mean, that's insane what he's been able to do. He had a 3-homer game a few weekends ago, and at some point, it's not a fluke. When the guy just keeps mashing the ball, he can play multiple positions. He's a pretty good defender at third base, first, second. He can play all over the infield, and it's just amazing to me that the Rays continually win these trades with people that trade with him. If I was a Major League Baseball team, I wouldn't trade with them.
Now, look, Tampa's not going to catch New York. You wouldn't think. They're 15 back of New York in the AL East. But do they have enough, Gibby, to stay in the wild card race here as we get into the month of late July and early to mid-August?
Well, it's going to be dicey. I think they can, but the Rays are this team that they've sustained so many injuries this year. Think about the bullpen injuries they've had. Tyler Glasnow still not back from having elbow surgery. So it's going to be tough for them, but I wouldn't count them out.
Andrew Gibson, every day on the Frangie Show. You also get him right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010 XL. Let's go to the National League. The last time we talked, your Atlanta Braves were struggling. That was about 6 weeks ago. They have won a lot of baseball games. In the last 6 weeks, they all of a sudden only find themselves 3.5 games back of the New York Mets. Give me what happened to the Braves. Why did they turn it around the way they did?
I think health, starting to get back healthy. Remember, they didn't have Acuna there for a little bit. He's been banged up here and there. But I think finally the offense got clicking. At the time we last spoke, the Braves' offense was very middling. It was a struggling offense, and they just couldn't get anything working. But Matt Olson has turned it on. He's got the most doubles in Major League Baseball, acquired after Freddie Freeman was signed in free agency to the Dodgers. But he's been everything I think they expected him to be, finally starting to get the power to come around. I think what the Braves have also done is they've fortified their starting pitching, a guy that's almost come out of nowhere. Spencer Strider was a third-round pick out of Clemson a couple of years ago, and he's come out of the bullpen and now become a starter. And he's a guy that is so much fun to watch. He throws 100 miles an hour as a starting pitcher, and the difference is he can go 6 instead of only 1 or 2 innings. And I think they're starting to get healthy again. This week they just got Eddie Rosario back. He was the NLCS MVP last year. Tyler Matzik, a linchpin in the bullpen last year for the World Series team, is coming back as well. Kenley Jansen just went on the injured list with a irregular heartbeat, which is kind of scary, very scary actually, but he's dealt with that for a while, and they think he's going to be back possibly next week as the closer, who's been terrific when he's been out there. So I think it's a mixture of the offense finally coming around and the team starting to get healthy again. I mean, this team went on an incredible streak, the second longest winning streak in Atlanta Braves franchise history, has coupled with the fact that they've finally gotten healthy, and I think it makes for a dangerous team in the coming months.
Anybody that knows you knows how big of an Atlanta Braves fan you are. You are a diehard in every sense of the word. A guy like you that's as big a fan of the Braves as you are, what did you make of the whole Freddie Freeman situation that's really still ongoing, whether he knew about the contract the Braves offered him, whether he went to L.A. under bad terms with his agent? That whole thing's kind of weird, Andrew, is it not?
Yeah, it really is. I think the Freddie thing boils down to this with me. He should have been an Atlanta Brave. He should have never left. And his choice was to go sign with the Dodgers. This whole contract talk about he didn't know the final offer, I find that to me hard to be true because, look, I mean, for these two sides, the Braves, the Dodgers, and then really the third side, his agency representation, to say that he didn't know the final offer until the last series he went to Atlanta with, that to me is kind of hard to believe, to be honest with you. But I never felt like Freddie should have left, and I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, look at the pictures. Go back and watch the video, Freddie breaking down multiple times, crying. I think he knows in his heart of hearts he never should have left. And I think what he did was he let his agent kind of get ahead of him, and maybe the agent didn't have Freddie's best intentions, maybe had his own best intentions to get the highest dollar amount that he could. And I think that's what happened. I think Freddie now, I believe in his heart of hearts, regrets leaving. He went and got, big money with the Dodgers, but at the end of the day, how much money did Freddie actually get when you factor in the California state taxes that he's going to have to pay with that contract? How much more money did he actually get than the Braves offered him? I don't think it's that much more, if much more at all. So I think Freddie regrets it. I think here's what's going to happen. He'll play out the 6 years of his contract with L.A., and I think he'll come back when he's 38, 39 and retire as an Atlanta Brave. I think that's what will happen.
Do you feel confident the Braves will chase down the Mets? Mets have a 3.5-game lead, but that was a 10-game lead not all that long ago. Do you feel confident Atlanta will catch New York?
So I feel confident that they can stay close. I don't know that they can catch them because it's so tough. Because here's the thing. The Mets are getting back two of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, arguably the best when you look at Jacob deGrom when he's healthy. deGrom is coming back. Max Scherzer, as of this moment right now, is starting tonight. He's on his way back after an oblique strain in May. Jacob deGrom, you wondered if the guy could stay healthy and how effective would he be when he comes back. Well, all he did was he made a rehab start on Sunday, and he faced 6 batters. He struck out 5 of the 6, and he threw 100 miles an hour on his first handful of pitches. So deGrom is going to be excellent when he comes back, as you knew he would be, but it's going to be really tough. The Braves are going to have a dogfight on their hands trying to catch the Mets, and it's like every time the Braves win, you're looking up at that scoreboard. What did the Mets do? What did the Mets do? And so I think they can keep it close. The Braves might have to go for a wild card this year just because the Mets are already really good, and they're getting deGrom and Scherzer back.
Final moments here with Andrew Gibson. You get him every day on the Frangie Show, and he's also with us right here on Hacker After Dark. Gibby, big picture, Major League Baseball. Anaheim fired Joe Maddon because things weren't going well. Well, things are still not going well. It doesn't appear it was a Joe Maddon problem, Gibby. Maybe the Angels were just vastly overrated this year. They're still 7 games under 500 and now 16 games back of the Astros there in the AL West.
Yeah, and that irks me because the Angels have 2 of the best players in baseball. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani are on the same team. You would think if your team has Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, you would be much better than the Angels are. But I think for them, it comes down to a matter of pitching. They tried to go get Noah Syndergaard from the Mets, and he's been okay, hasn't been great. He's had his fair share of injuries, but you realize that Mike Trout has played 3 postseason games in his career.
Wow.
And the last time Mike Trout played in the playoffs, dude, was 8 years ago. Mike Trout hasn't played in the playoffs in 8 years, and that to me is just a crying shame because a guy of that caliber, he's a Hall of Fame player, and he's just never been much on the national stage, I think, because his team's not very good. They don't make the playoffs.
When you get to the halfway point of the Major League Baseball season, you start thinking about the trade deadline. You mentioned it earlier with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Any big names that you think may get dealt on the deadline or a little bit before the deadline? Any, perennial all-stars, guys of that type that potentially could be on the move here in the next month or so?
Yeah, I think with the trade deadline, what you're going to see happen is a lot of pitchers move places because that's the thing. Most teams these days have offense. I mean, the Braves can stack up with anybody, hitting home runs, and the Yankees can do so as well. They lead baseball in home runs, but I think you're going to see pitching change hands a lot. I think you're going to see bullpens, trade closers. That usually happens at the trade deadline. Some big names as far as the trades will be starting pitching. I think that Luis Castillo, if I had to give one guy, I would say Luis Castillo. He's on the Cincinnati Reds. They're a terrible team right now. He's going to get shipped off. It's going to be the Dodgers. It might be the Mets. If I had to handicap the top 2 teams that Castillo could go to, it's probably the Dodgers or the Mets. Another team could get in there. I wish the Braves could get him. He's phenomenal. The Braves faced him the other day and could hardly do anything with him. He throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball with a changeup that's one of the best in baseball, if not the best. So I think a singular name I would give you is Luis Castillo, a pitcher for the Reds. He's going to get dealt to a contender. Always
interesting to see who the buyers and the sellers are at the trade deadline in Major League Baseball, and we're going to find that out sooner rather than later. Andrew Gibson of the Frangie Show, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Gibby, thank you for the time, my friend. Let's do this again in a couple of weeks, and we will see how Tampa and Atlanta stand in both Eastern divisions respectively. Thank you, my friend.
Always a blast, man. Anytime. Thank you.
And thank you to my friend Andrew Gibson. We lovingly call him Gibby. You get him every day here on the Frangie Show on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. He's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. And like we talked about, beginning next month on Friday nights, he and I will be back under the Friday Night Lights for year 16 of the high school football Friday Night Lights post-game show. It is interesting what is going on in Major League Baseball. Boy, the New York Yankees, good grief. They are playing ridiculous. And how about that division in the American League East? They are 13 games clear of the field, yet Boston, Toronto, and Tampa Bay are all over 500 as well. Whew, what a division the AL East is. That'll just about wrap it up for what has been an action-packed Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on our late show on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We got a lot of people to thank. We'll start with David Lake inside.
Oh, good morning. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Meow.
Doing their best to make every morning good. Or at least a little better.
Oh, now I see what you're saying.
Mornings on 1010XL.
That's good. That's good fun.
Next time you're tempted to speed, think about who's waiting for you at home. On average, 8 people are killed each day in crashes on Florida's roadways, so slow down. Pay attention behind the wheel and help drive roadway fatalities down to 0. Let's get everyone home, Florida. Don't let a fast drive be your last drive. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.